Formula One is about speed, strategy, and precision, but sometimes it's about pettiness, drama, and straight up sabotage. Forget Ferrari versus Red Bull or Mercedes versus McLaren. The nastiest rivalries often happen inside the same team. Today we are looking at the biggest teammate rivalries in modern F1, from Hamilton and Rosberg's friendship turned battlefield to the legendary chaos of Alonso versus Hamilton. And finally, we may be looking at the new drama, Norris versus Piastri, which seems like might not happen actually, but you never know, it's F1. Let's start with Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg. These two weren't just teammates, they were childhood friends. They raced cars together, traveled the world together, even stayed at each other's houses. Imagine going from playing PlayStation together to taking each other out at 200 miles per hour. When Mercedes became the dominant team in the hybrid era, it was basically Lewis versus Nico for every single race win. And at first, it was tense but manageable. But by 2016, the bromance had officially turned into a Netflix true crime documentary. Spain 2016, they crashed into each other on the very first lap. Race over. Toto Wolff nearly aged 20 years that day. Austria 2016, they collided again on the final lap. Nico limping home like his suspension just gave up on life. The radio messages between the Mercedes teams were absolutely gold during this time. In the end, Nico pulled off the impossible. He beat Hamilton to the 2016 championship and then he retired immediately. Like mic drop, the man literally said, "Thanks for the title, I'm out. My therapist told me to stop." It was the most dramatic teammate rivalry of the last decade. Two childhood friends, two world-class drivers, and one completely broken friendship. And honestly, pure entertainment for us. Imagine we had Drive to Survive during this era. Formula 1 would be way bigger than it is now. But if you think that was bad, let's rewind to 2007, when a rookie Hamilton walked into McLaren and made a double world champion look kinda average. Fernando Alonso had just signed with McLaren after back-to-back championships. He expected the full red carpet, number one driver treatment, rural team support. But McLaren had other ideas. They put this rookie named Lewis Hamilton in the other car. And from the very first race, Lewis was matching Alonso's pace. Alonso was not amused. He thought he would be the king of McLaren. But instead he was fighting his own teammate every single weekend. And it escalated quickly. The Hungarian Grand Prix qualifying in 2007 is still legendary. Alonso literally sat in the pit box just long enough to block Hamilton from getting one final lap. Pure petty behavior. The team completely imploded. McLaren had civil war energy. Ron Dennis, the team boss, looked like a dad trying to stop his kids from killing each other in the living room. But here's the craziest part. McLaren had the fastest car that year. If Hamilton and Alonso had worked together, at least one would have walked to the championship. Instead, they were so busy fighting each other that they threw it all away. Both drivers finished level on points, but 1 point behind Iceman himself, Kimi Raikkonen. Ferrari basically said, "Thanks for the free championship." That's right, this rivalry literally cost the McLaren the 2007 drivers' title. A rookie season civil war between the teammates handed Ferrari one of the most shocking championships in history. This wasn't just a rivalry, it was a team-destroying implosion. Alonso versus Hamilton 2007 is the gold standard of toxic teammate drama. Now let's talk about the present. Lando Norris versus Oscar Piastri at McLaren. This rivalry is fascinating because unlike Rosberg versus Hamilton or Alonso versus Hamilton, it hasn't shown toxic yet. Instead, it's opposite of that. Lando had been McLaren's golden boy since 2019. The Twitch streamer, the fan favorite, the driver everyone thought would bring McLaren their first title in ages. With experience on his side, everyone assumed that once McLaren had a car to fight for wins, Lando would be the one to deliver. But Oscar Piastri had other plans. In just his second year, he was already on Lando's pace. By 2025, he's not just keeping up, he's leading races, scoring podiums, and he's leading the championship fight. It wasn't in the script and nobody expected that. Now here's a twist. Unlike Alonso or Rosberg, Piastri has kept it classy. Take Monza 2025. For example, Lando had lost time in the pits, Oscar found himself ahead, and instead of fighting to the death, Oscar gave the place back. A move that showed maturity, respect, and maybe a little bit of long game thinking. Right now, the rivalry feels more like a chess than boxing. Two drivers pushing each other hard, but with a level of trust that's rare in F1. But history tells us, if both drivers stay in the title hunt, things can change fast. One mistake, one tense radio messages, and McLaren would find themselves in the kind of civil war they have seen before. And let's not forget, if Norris and Piastri trip over each other, there's a certain someone just waiting in the shadows. Max might not be the favorite to win this year because of his car, but McLaren's own rivalry could easily hand him a way back in. And I feel like the McLaren drivers know that, and they are playing it safe. Here's the thing about Formula 1, the fiercest battles don't always happen between teams. They happen inside the garage with matching cars, matching overalls, and absolutely zero chill. Hamilton versus Rosberg showed us how friendship can turn into warfare. Alonso versus Hamilton proved that egos can cost you a championship. And now, Norris versus Piastri might be the latest chapter in F1's endless soap opera of teammate rivalries. The pattern is always the same: two brilliant drivers, one team, one car that's fast enough to win. And suddenly, the enemy isn't Red Bull or Ferrari, it's the guy sitting 3 meters away in the same debrief. And that's what makes this rivalry so fascinating, because F1 isn't about just speed, strategy, or car design. It's about psychology, mind games, and who can handle the pressure when everything is on the line. So whether you are Team Hamilton, Team Alonso, Team Rosberg, Team Norris, or even Team PSG, one thing's for sure: teammate rivalries will always give you drama, chaos, and the kind of entertainment that cannot be scripted. Because in F1, your greatest rival might just be your closest teammate.